Okay, hello, hello, hello. Today we're gonna talk about communication, rotations. Actually, pretty much those two only, because those two things are one of the things that I see mostly in ranked, especially that people really either don't care about or just ignore completely. Especially like even the higher ranks, but especially on the lower ranks. So the thing that we are gonna start with now is we're gonna go through some communication. Then I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks on how to be most effective when you do those things. What's the information you want to give? What's the information you don't want to give? You don't need to give, and that kind of stuff. We're gonna start with basics. Basically, you're a site holder. We can play a game where we are a site holder on C here in Haven. What you can do is you can do a jump spot every now and again, like every 10 20 seconds, maybe 20 seconds, 50 seconds, something like that. If nobody sees anything, you can just like confirm that, yeah, I see no one. I just make the jump speak. I see no one along, no one's along yet. And then you can use your utility. You can be whatever, if you're playing Sky, you can just take the info, uh, like blow up the bird here. You're gonna get the sound if somebody is there. Or you can just like, even like if you peek somebody while they jump peek, you can just stalk or whatever. You can drone, you can use your recon arrow, whatever. Or you can even use your camera. There's a cute lineup, like at the start of the round, you just lean on the wall here and aim right there. Use a camera. As Cypher, as you can see, the camera can see all the way up here. So you can kind of just hold it solo that way. Just use your traps effectively and just like get the info that way. Because info is one of the most important things that you can have in the game. Probably the most after like shooting, because you need to shoot. If you shoot the heads, you win the rounds, even if no communication. But communication is the way to make it a lot easier for your team to rotate and just be effective in general. Because if you want to rank up in solo queue especially, you need to be the guy doing everything at the same time. Trust me, I've done this so many times. You need to be the guy who's giving all the info. You need to be the guy who's shooting heads. You need to be the guy who is rotating effectively. You know what I'm saying? Like, super hard. But maybe I can make it easier for you. So basically, using a hero like Sky is super effective because you have basically 4 ways out of your 5 abilities to gain info in the map. So basically what you can do is you can use a bird here. Bam. Maybe info, maybe no info. Doesn't really matter at this point. You can use that one to get info if somebody's cross or window. Then you can use your dog on like in front of B if you want to. That's already like 4 different places cleared in a way or two at a different position or time in the map. And then of course you can use your ultimate. Something about like some heroes, especially Sky, Cypher, those kind of heroes. Whenever you get the chance to use the ulti, just don't be afraid to use. Just use it whenever you feel like using it. When you see there's a chance of using it, try not to save it too much, cause then you're just gonna save it for the whole game, and that's just gonna make it very, very hard for you to be effective with it. Now, the next thing, communication. Other than just like listening to steps, what kind of info do you need to give? So basically, the rule of thumb that I use, if the whole team, if more than 2 guys can get something out of my info, I'll just give it info. Like if I can hear someone grass, I hear 1-2 steps. Communication wise, if you hear steps, if you're sure there's at least 1 guy, you can say at least 1 guy outside garage or something. At least 2 guys outside garage. You say at least, you know that there's 2 or more. But you're not sure if there's 3, then just say at least. Very easy, very effective. You get the info from your bird. Bam, you blow up your bird there. You get the info, there's like 1 guy at least on C-long, if it pops up, if you blind someone. And then with the dog, of course, you can give the exact number on the positions that you clear, which is very useful on a lot of heroes as well, with like the info abilities. If somebody breaks your arrow, your knife on KO, whatever, you know that there's at least 1 guy there, so give the info. At least 1 guy C-long, at least 1 guy outside garage, depending of course on like if you actually get the info, you give the number that you get. And then with arrows it's a bit different, not much, but like with the arrow you can just say that on the general area there's at least a couple of guys like C-long lobby or whatever, A lobby, because you usually play A as a Sova in this map. Yeah, other than that, like when you kill someone, usually it's like the best way to give info for what I've seen is like say the agent name and if they have an op or not, like jet op dead, for example, or like jet op window, or object window. Doesn't really matter. Like as long as you tell if somebody has an AWP or not, that's already a huge info. Because AWP is like ridiculously strong. When somebody like even decent level can use it, it's gonna be so hard because your teammates are, especially in ranked, no matter from fucking bronze to radiant, people are just gonna be peeking a lot and dying to these operators for no reason basically. And if you can give that little info or last seen jet op C long, then that's gonna make it more reassuring for these guys in A long or A short to go a bit more aggressive if they want to. And now like heroes like Sky and Sova are super strong on A for a couple of reasons. You can control basically a lot of different spaces at the same time. So like basically what you can do, what you see pros doing is doing a flashbang like so. They get a lot of info in A lobby and then they do like a dog like so. Okay, I maybe misstepped a little, but that doesn't matter. Basically they go from short and they get to like clear all this area. And the only place they pretty much don't always see is like outside A lobby right here. But you get a lot of info, and that helps you with the rotations. Now coming to rotations, if you have any communications in the team and your like teammates are talking or at least listening to you, and you're the A player and you decide that you're the A rotator, the best way to rotate is of course not through CT, because that's gonna take more time. If you need to go to garage, if you need to go to C-Link, excuse me. If you need to go to garage, if you need to go to C-Link, of course, the easiest way for you is to go tell your B guy who's playing either A-Link or C-Link. If he's playing C-Link, the better, because he's gonna be super fast to rotate, because you're gonna skip all this way in the map from this point to this point here, and you're just gonna tell him that, you know, Sage, go garage, I have your B, or go C, I have your B. You're gonna make the rotation more fluent with your team, and that's gonna make it a lot easier for your teammate to be there on time if they're actually pushing C. And then if they're pushing C, that's alright, that's alright. If you have a flashbang, you usually have a recharged flashbang. You can just make the flashbang like so, and just move in, use a recon dart, use the knife, whatever information gathering you might have. If you're a duelist, that's fine, just like clear the corner slowly. It's not that big of a deal, like, you know. Effective clearing is like one of the best tools, as in like Valorant, CSGO player or whatever. Being like precise with your corners, like you pre-aim at the right position at the right time, you get a free kill and you get to move forward from the flanker. And when you get like high value information abilities, like a lot of professional players say that Cypher ultimate is the best ultimate in the game for one single reason. You get the info on exact positions of the enemy team for like 2 seconds, and then you can make the calculations if they have time to go to a different site, if they're gonna do X, Y, or Z, if they have a certain setup that they run. You know, it's just so valuable. Same thing goes with the Sky Ult as well. You get a lot of information, you know where the enemy is, where they are not. And like the balls or the wolves, whatever these are, like the lotus flowers, they're just gonna go to a way where the enemy is. So if you use it right here, if there's an enemy long, they're just gonna go long, at least one of them. But if they don't go long, if they go garage, you know that you have a chance to like get a timing push here along, and that's gonna be a really good info for your team as well. What you can say here is, I don't think there's anyone long. I'm just gonna walk push long, and give you in the team info that way, so that they are ready that it's probably going to be B or A. And because we're like, especially in Haven, because the B is not really all that used, you probably know that they're going A, and you can make the calculation that way too. And when you push C long, like when you're at this point, you can already hear so much, like you can hear crash, you can hear almost this when you're pushing like closer to T-spawn. And like all the info you can give is good info. What else is there info-wise? Just, you know, give the info. If you know a certain character is certain side, like Killjoy, like high stopping power enemy somewhere, or you have like a Sova who has shock dart lineups. If you're the Sova who has shock dart lineups, use that to your advantage and just like break Cypher utility like that. You can do a handy double bounce shock dart from the spawn to destroy any utility on B by let down by Killjoy. If there's a tripwire here, if there's an alarm bot here is gonna be destroyed by the shock dart. So you can use your utility effectively when you give the info to your team, like Killjoy is playing C-Link. Okay, his utility is probably on B and garage. So you can use your utility that way to kind of deny control from the enemy team and force them to play a certain way. And that's gonna get into like enemy rotation manipulation. However, I'm just not gonna go through that right now. That's like a whole other video on like how to manipulate rotations, especially on ranked. It's super easy, but we're gonna stick to communications because we're already like 10 minutes deep. Like a couple of things: you kill someone, you know where the spike is. You have a read on the enemy team where they're gonna go. Call your rotations. If you can call for the teammate to rotate when you can, like, you know, get to a good position from like CT to this link again. We get to skip like from here to here, like a running distance. That's already 2 seconds, 3 seconds maybe, which is already like a so long time in game. So that's pretty much it. Give good info. You don't need to give like info if already someone has given it. Damage wise, give the damage info fast, like Sage 110. What you can do, what I like when people do is you can just use caps lock and do Sage -100 to chat, so your teammates can see that you've done damage, and you don't need to talk over your teammates, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, whatnot.